question.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Worldhoppers. Today, myself, my husband, and my friend Roger, Dr. Roger, are going to be sprinting. And Roger, are you reading for this sprint, or are you going to be doing something else?
Doing science.
No, we'll probably be finishing an apartment application.
Oh, boo.
Yeah, he was telling me last night that he has his interview on Tuesday next week.
Where at?
A place near you guys, St. Joseph's.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, that would be so fun. I really want
doing pharmacokinetics.
You'll have to get used to that desert heat.
Or just going from AC to AC to AC.
Yeah, just don't go outside. It's actually been pretty nice this year because the heat seems to be coming slowly.
Can I interject just to say how
rebuttal?
Dumb? No. I'm just really dumb. I thought you said AZ to AZ to AZ. I'm like, Arizona, Arizona, Arizona. Yeah, it's hot. Yep, that's right. And then I was like, oh, wait. That's not what he's saying.
Hello.
All right, yes, yeah. You can continue about our mild weather.
Okay, you agree every single day.
It really has been. I'm like, it's really quite nice outside.
Yeah, when we go, I mean, it's usually me that says it, but we'll go to ride our bikes, and I'm like, I can't believe how nice it still is.
It's actually pretty nice in the mornings.
Yes. Yay, happy Wednesday. I feel like Roger's just like, no, it's not.
I mean, we'll see.
It was 69 degrees this morning.
Oh, that's pretty nice.
It's pretty nice.
Not as nice where you are.
I just assume when you guys say nice that it's like
80,
90. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's not been amazing. Oh, I forgot to start the timer. I'm so dumb. So for those that don't know, I'm trying to be more diligent with our sprints where we
our
actually
talkie time.
Yes, the chats don't last too long because they can.
Like, please. Oh yeah. So
we don't usually go out this time of day. We usually go out around 7. When the sun goes down, it's not as bad. But
yeah, but did you see that low? Look at that. 68.
Yeah, that's just what it is.
It just is 68.
Australia.
Is it hot in Australia?
Oh my gosh.
Actually, I guess
they're coming up to a different season.
It's true.
So I think it helps too when, I know this is going to maybe sound stupid, but when you ride your bike, you kind of get almost a natural breeze coming as opposed to just walking and baking because humans are slow unless they're sprinters or something. Oh, how fun. That's exciting. Or maybe you're just more looking forward to finally getting it done with because sometimes moving sucks. Luna Bear is joining us from beside me. I know you can't see her, but I will try to show you. There she is. You can see her little butt.
It's her butt. Yeah.
Yeah. She is
Katya's up here.
Always. Yeah, just lurking. I saw a video. I've decided I'm already an old person because I'm just always looking at silly videos of animals. But somebody took cut up like pineapple. They'd cut part of it out and they just put it on
the cat's head like a helmet.
Head. Yeah, like a crown. The cat was just sitting still the whole time. Oh, it's winter and it's freezing. What's freezing? What's Australia freezing? Because I mean, obviously Australia is really big. So where the particular area you're at, what's it like? Let's see. Hello. Have almost 500 books and I've already unhauled a bunch, so it's going to be a nightmare.
Don't remind me.
Are you going to try to do a big unhaul, Roger, before you move?
I don't know. That seems like a lot of effort to try to like think about what I want to keep because I'm really bad about like making that kind of decision. But like, what if I want to reread? What if I want to? So it might be easier to just pack them and store them
later.
Yeah.
I'll decide in a few years.
Or decide when I'm unpacking and putting them back on the shelf if they no longer spark joy.
See, I don't know. That's tough. Like currently, certain books, not this exact moment, spark joy, but then other times they do. You know what I mean? Like certain books spark joy all the time, but some I'm like, this sparks joy sometimes. Hello. So who's doing what today? Are people primarily reading, or are people going to be doing other things? It's a productivity sprint, so you can be doing something else. I might edit. I don't know, because I really just want to get something, the video I'm working on, done. But I don't know. Maybe I'll read also. Yeah, that's one of my anticipated releases. I think and the cover's really cool. I can picture it. It's got the sort of city look on floating Earth, a floating chunk of Earth, not Earth just floating by itself. Let's see. Good evening to you as well. I've never read this series, but I've heard pretty good things. I've heard that it ages up, so it starts feeling pretty young, and then by the end it's almost adult, but I don't know if that's accurate. Roger, what are you going to be reading?
If we finish that application quickly, then I'm starting Memories of Ice. I'm up on chapter 5. So far, I like it better because it's actually lore and plot and less of the other stuff that I don't care about as much. Because like the whole prologue was this like history of the world and some conflict between the gods, and I was like, couldn't this all have been like this? Why did we need to pretend like I didn't need to know who these people were for like 2,000 pages?
Well, I'm glad that you're liking it more than, because you liked the first one all right, and you seemed pretty irritated at the second one.
But I'm only on chapter 5. There's plenty of time. I mean, it's like, what, 8% or something? There's plenty of time for it to go sideways.
That one's pretty long, right?
Oh my god, it's like a 48-hour audiobook.
So, yeah. And you probably get to read a lot of poetic...
I kind of glaze over on some of those parts, I'm not going to lie, because I don't care.
How dare you?
Oh my gosh.
Yay,
I don't care when it's like philosophy about life.
That's probably the best part of Malazan. I haven't even read it, but it's probably the only part I'd care about. I don't care about...
First one.
I know, but...
It wasn't philosophy then.
Yeah, no. I don't care about... I don't know. I was going to make fun of their names and their... I don't know, their guilds and whatnot. But that's... I won't go off on a rant. But now I'm kind of curious. Kind of curious if I'd like them more. But there's all the other stuff.
Yeah, that would be funny if you picked it up. And I don't know. I just feel like you already seem so annoyed at it. Oh. So I will say the first one...
That's the King Midas fantasy romance thing, right?
Yeah, the first one is really short and absolutely not a full story. Not even a little bit. And I don't mean it has a cliffhanger ending. I mean, it doesn't feel very... It doesn't have like even a little bit of a plot that has a arc, really. So I always tell people if you're going to try that series, you probably got to read the next one too. I think I DNF'd the third one though, because I'm just like, I mean, I feel like I've read this before, you know. Some of the themes and the character types and whatnot were pretty similar. Oh, how fun. That's so exciting.
It still throws me off. That's called The Final Empire.
It's
So I'm
the
like,
first one.
isn't that the third one? I'm like, oh wait, no, it's not.
No,
It's
the
the
Hero of
first.
Ages is the third one. Sean's read all three of them. Our friend is reading Mistborn for the first time. And
The Final Empire.
Yes, and forgive me if I've told this story, if some of you have heard this, but he said, I asked him, because I'm like, so when do you think you're going to have it done by? And he was like, the end of the year. And I was like, are you serious? And this was a couple months ago, I think. And I was like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah. And Sean's like, the whole year for, the trilogy, when he doesn't necessarily read a lot, that's not that bad. I was like, I don't think he's saying the trilogy, Sean. I think he's saying the first book. And our friend's like, I mean the first book. And I was like, how? Even if you read like a couple pages, you would get further. A couple pages a day. I think he'll listen on his way to work to the audiobook, but his way to work is about 10 minutes, and he doesn't listen every day.
Slow and steady. Slow and
And he's
steady.
listening on 1.0 speed.
How are you going to retain what's happening? I don't know. As somebody who usually marathons books, I don't know how people read just a small chunk at a time. Oh, Royal Assassin. I didn't like that one.
Neither did I.
Because I just feel like Fitz is so angsty. It's the angstiest book I think I've read. Angstier than most YA books. But
Yeah, but it's not like fun, campy angst either. Because like sometimes I can get behind it. Like for the Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare, like that's pretty angsty, but like it's meant to be kind of melodramatic. Where I think Royal Assassin is not written to be more melodramatic.
So this is in reference to a sprint with Jade that I had over on Patreon. Jade's reading Lies of Lochilmora right now. And I've mentioned that I feel like there's a scene that's such a stereotypical, like these two boys just don't get along. And then they have a fight and they are physical with each other. And then now they're the best of buds. So that's what is being referred to here. Oh, Skyward. Nice.
Getting ready for whatever it is, Defiant.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that book comes out this year. My audiobook hold for this one came in. I'm just waiting for the physical copy hold to come in.
It's
so that
so good. So good.
Yeah. I think you and Jashana both liked it more than the first one. You guys both liked the first one a lot, right?
I think you'll like this one too because it's a lot more like twisty turny like the whole time. It's less of a plot that you've kind of seen with the competition, and it's not, there's no way that you could predict half the stuff that happens. It's just a wild ride.
That's exciting. It is kind of interesting that the covers for the US versus UK, they completely reverse. Yeah. I hope you like it, and I hope I like it too.
Watership Down. Dang, that's a blast from the past.
The
Sad rabbit stuff, yeah.
Sad rabbit stuff.
I'm not wrong though, am I, Sean?
Nice. Oh, I haven't read this one. Not surprising. It's fantastic. Is that one that has a cover similar to the reindeer? I can't remember the title. Something about a reindeer. Or am I totally off? She has a few that have similar looking covers, or at least some of the editions. But I could be totally wrong about which one that is. The blade itself, very nice. That's what I'm doing. I'm a barbarian.
Yes.
I'm not.
You seem to be correct. It has that same one as that reindeer-y one.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I probably could have just looked it up.
Short stories, Toad Words, and Other Stories.
Oh. The blade itself, I'm new. Yeah, I like it. It's so Roger, what did you end up thinking of it? Because you finished it, right?
I did. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. I don't know why, for some reason, I didn't realize it was going to be so D&D-y. Like, there was a lot of moments in it that were D&D heavy, and I really liked the Bayaz plotline, and I'm excited to see where it goes in book 2.
If that's the plotline you like, then I think you'll like book 2 a lot. Book 2 is my favorite. Book 3, I don't know. It's one of those things where looking back, I respect it, but it still irritates me. You know, because like one of the big themes is like nothing matters. So you get to the end, you're like, what was the?
That's the best theme. That's the best.
I actually think Sean has potential to like First Law, and it's one of those stories where you could maybe spoil it for someone, and I don't know how much that would really matter. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Well, I mean, I've definitely been understanding now why people always have a hard time describing the plot, because the plot is not really the point. Like, there is one, and it's kind of a basic rebellion plot line, but you're not really following the rebellion plot line. It's like following people that are tangential to it, that aren't in places of power, and just kind of seeing them being cogs of the machine.
Yeah, that's true. You will see some things with one of the characters' perspectives in the second book. But it's funny because since they're so distant in the first one, that in the second one, I'm like, what are we doing here? Because I just, you know what I mean? Because it was so separate that it almost felt weird to then be connected. Yay, Way of Kings. Yay, how exciting. I hope it's really good. The first one was so fun, and I would imagine the second one we're going to get more of a certain character's origins, hopefully. I hope so. I that's one of those series where she could just write a bunch of books in it, and I would just find all of them fun. We have about 2 minutes before we start
Nobody
officially
called on
sprinting.
me to ask what I'm reading, but
What are you
Do you even
reading,
read, Sean? No.
I'm reading Reconstruction by Eric Foner, America's Unfinished Revolution from 1863 to 1877.
It's one of those books that
It's
thus
very
far,
good.
him and his dad, because it's one they're buddy reading, where they're both like, I didn't really learn about this in school. So
when you
at
read
some
books
point-
like that, are you able to read it for extended periods of time, or do you just read like tiny little chunks?
No, I can read it for a pretty good long while.
That's wild. I can't with like history or like things that feel more textbooky. Mm-mm.
But Sean, you would say it's written in a way where it doesn't just feel like facts, right?
No,
It's almost
It's more
like
anecdotal.
no,
told
pretty much the opposite
story.
of what you're saying. It's very fact heavy.
But it's one of those things where it's almost hard to believe that it happened. Some of the events that it's like that's what I mean by it feels like a story. But to me, that was what
It
history
doesn't
always
feel
felt
like a story to me,
Well,
but you know, but
I always
unbelievable,
loved,
yeah.
I always loved history class I often didn't take notes. I would just sit and listen because I'm like, it's like being told a story. I mean, things that really happened, but we have 45 seconds. Let me try to get through another.
Well, there's somebody who's
Um,
excited about Sean's book. What is that Reconstruction book about? Since Sean wanted to talk about his
It's
book.
about Reconstruction.
That's helpful, Sean.
Such
a period
troll.
of time. It's a period of time after the Civil War in America's history.
Largely a giant failure.
I had to restart. I don't know if I restarted or if I just pushed through, but I almost DNF'd the blade itself. So you might maybe feel different if you started again. Okay, we're 10 seconds down, so I'm going to go ahead and get the timer ready to go. Let's see. Share screen. There it is. All right. We will see all of you in 45 minutes. We're actually on time today with we're not chatting too much. Okay. All right, everybody. Yay, sprinting. Hello.
Clear.
Oh, Sean. This is why you have to elaborate.
I think she said, never mind later.
She asked, of buildings or social structure, sir?
Social structure.
Yeah, and then Roger, is the TV on or something at your place?
I don't. Maybe? Yeah. Why, do you hear people crying in the background?
I heard noise. I didn't realize it was crying. What was on?
Vanderpump Rules. The drama is real on that show. This a crazy affair broke out, and so now they're taking it to the bank and just playing every horrific thing about that couple that they have footage for.
I don't know what that show is.
It's a bunch of people that work at a bar in Beverly Hills for one of the housewives.
Oh. It's like a whole other world, I feel like. It is interesting watching reality TV and then seeing how invested people will get in people's lives.
People have been going and defacing and putting graffiti on the guy's bar, the one who had the affair. It's pretty next level. Death threats, calling them, and it's crazy. It's crazy. I get it. He shouldn't have done the things that he did, but also it's not your relationship, and you don't know these people.
Yeah, that's what I've seen. People on reality shows get death threats all the time, and they'll share people's DMs that'll say really horrific things, and I'm just like, all right. I mean, I don't get why. I guess what I don't understand is okay, yeah, what that person did wasn't great, but also, do you think the death threat is I don't understand. Anyway, keeping us honest, how is everyone's reading? I'm not sure how to feel about it, to be honest. Yeah, Guild's it's interesting. It's very it starts with a bang, I'll say. If you've read it, you know what I'm talking about.
Is it book 2 or 3 or the 1? Which number in the series is that?
Guild is the first one. It goes Guild, Glint, Glow, and I think the next one's Gold. Or no, there might be a fourth one, and then the last one's going to be Gold, something like that. I don't know. I stopped reading this series.
Wasn't a new favorite of all time?
Yeah, no. 2 hours left. Oh, nice. Yay. I ended up reading instead of editing. This is what I'm reading. If you're a patron, this is what I was reading the other day. I don't think I'm going to end up loving it. It's frustrating me because I think the politics in the world and the history is really cool. But then so much of the character interactions are even though you're my greatest enemy and I want to kill you, I also think you're hot. That's what so much of it is. Just because it could be such a different dynamic. I don't mind the enemies to lovers when it's done well, but I need them to not immediately be attracted to each other if they're enemies. You know what I mean? Maybe. Is that a thing in your book, Sean?
Yeah.
People in Reconstruction are...
No.
Are sexy enemies? No?
I did some... Yay! Oh, you're very welcome. Yay for reading some of the Final Empire. So, Roger, did you get your application filled out?
Almost. We needed the last 4 pay stubs of Alex's, and then it won't let him access his work portal from home. And I think I annoyed him by asking him for it. So then he's like, fine. So he left and went to go to work to get it right now. And I was like, okay.
He's not here to defend himself.
Well, I mean, they make it sound very stressful because they're like, well, if you don't do this within 24 hours, we'll just void your application. He's like, well, I have 24 hours. And I was like, yeah, but I started it at noon. So then you have to go first thing in the morning. I was like, well, you can't call somebody and have them send it to you. He's like, meh, and he left and went to go do it himself.
Yeah, that sounds stressful.
So then I read a little bit, but not a lot.
I get stressed out about because, well, I should say this is a positive thing, but we should finally be getting a ceiling in our bathroom tomorrow. It's been like the whole year of no ceiling in the bathroom because of mold, because this house is old and run down. But when they give you a quote, the quote is only for a certain amount of time, and it took so long for the roof to get fixed that we then had to get another quote, and it's like, so, but finally, hopefully, unless something happens, they should be here tomorrow. But I'm very excited to have a ceiling in our bathroom, so that it's not really
been able to use that shower, right? That bathroom's been kind of like
every now and then we'll use that shower, but I try to avoid it because I don't want to potentially cause problems in there. But I avoid washing my hair as much as possible, so my hair smells right now. I feel like Sean always tells me it doesn't, but I'm like, it does. I can tell. Let's see. Oh, but he's so hot. Yeah. This one's not really, I wouldn't call it fantasy romance. Because I kind of get that in those sorts of stories too. But it's more than just the person's hot. There's also an element of like I just like really enjoyed sparring with them a little too much and stuff. And I'm just like, I just want a little more subtlety. Like let the attraction build without them realizing it, for a little bit. It's almost immediate. Yay, Words of Radiance.
Page
Sean's
350 like maybe 20% in.
Sean's favorite. Sean has the unpopular opinion that Words of Radiance is his least favorite Stormlight book.
Hey, you know what? It has a stupid boot scene, which it gets like minus 1,000 points immediately. I hate that scene. I think it's really.
It's one scene
annoying.
out of like 1,200 pages.
It's really bad. I don't
ruined
like it.
the whole book.
Mm-hmm.
All the cool
Pretty
moments.
short scene too. It's like.
Yeah.
No.
It
Interesting.
bothers him. Give me some personality. But their personality is that they're hot, That's what counts.
Hey! Woo, woo, woo. Stoner, so good.
See, poor Sean. I'm like, I don't think I can read that. I told him, I was like, I don't think I can read that book because so many of that man's problems in that story are just like him making kind of not the best decisions and then just avoiding the consequences until everything gets really bad. I'm just like, I can't. I don't know. I don't think
it's
I can.
It's all about the
that.
journey, man. And the writing.
Yeah, you really liked. Where's that rank for you, Sean, in your top books? It's not the top, but it's up pretty high, right?
It's pretty high. It's really good. I don't know if, like, off the top of my head, I don't know if that or Outline by Rachel Cusk is better. But they're kind of similar, and they're really well-written Debbie Downers. And who doesn't like a really well-written Debbie Downer?
Yeah, but the Debbie Downer for them is just, like I said, it's almost a little bit some of their own actions to some degree. It's not like things that are entirely outside of their control. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Stoner also has like one of the characters that I had a real
visceral
hatred for. I was like, I do not like this.
Yeah, I think I would get
that's kind of
frustrated
rare for me
with the main character too, just because I don't want to spoil things for people. But the fact that they're not the greatest person toward another person that they should be better for. Like this person relies on them and they don't really do the best job.
Oh, now I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Now I want to go reread Stoner.
Where is it? On your shelf? Is it behind you somewhere?
No, it's in the other room, I think.
Oh, in the front?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shouldn't it be like prominently displayed?
It's in the front.
No, but in like your background, for when
Oh.
you're on these things, shouldn't that shelf behind you be like Sean's faves?
Maybe I just need to get Stoner back here.
Oh, we'll be ending soon, but yay for Words of Radiance. Another Words of Radiance read.
Dr. Roger, I was about to say you should read Stoner, but then I remembered you read White Noise, so you've already done your duty.
Would I like it more?
You'd probably like Stoner more.
It's not weird.
Is it the same level of what I feel is overwriting?
I think it's
So
more.
funny.
I think it's more overwriting than White Noise.
I didn't think White Noise was overwritten. It's so weird. That's like the biggest disagreement because usually we feel really similarly about books, but just how much we like or dislike is where we differ. But that's one of the only times that I feel like we just feel totally different about that. Because you kept saying, because you started it before me, and you kept saying like, oh, there's just so like the writing is kind of dense, and then I started it. I'm like, I think the writing is funny and like straightforward. So it's like complete opposites.
I don't have it anymore. If I did, I could point out specific passages.
There is the occasional
Specific,
like just
wonderful passages.
things
Sure.
will go on and on and on. There's that element to it. Are you
I don't know, I
trying to
just feel
think of
like-
an example?
No, I'm just like trying to remember the book. Beyond just him and his wife having a horrible relationship with each
Hey,
other.
you know what? Stoner is about having a horrible relationship with your wife. So there you go. And you know what? Outline is about a recently divorced woman. So I have a weird theme of bad marriages.
Yeah, something
In
you
my
definitely
literature.
relate to, Sean.
I don't relate to it. I have to
Sean,
live
the other day-
vicariously, apparently.
I was reading to him Metacritic scores from I was looking at like the top Metacritic scores for video games, and one of the higher up ones is Red Dead Redemption 2, which Sean loves, like one of his favorite games. So he was like, "See, I have good taste in games." He points at me, he's like, "And women." So
Now you
definitely,
read the Metacritic review of L.
well,
Exactly.
it's funny because I was over here like, Metacritic doesn't know what it's talking about with some of these ratings. So,
Like which
I don't-
one were you? What did it rate Final Fantasy X low or something?
Well, it's just that pretty much every Zelda game is really high, and which I mean that's
Not
fine.
every Zelda game is
A lot of the Zelda games are up really high, higher than The Witcher 3, which I think is weird. I think was it Ocarina of Time is the highest
Yeah.
rated.
Yeah.
There's just a ton of things on there that I'm like, really? Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, I think, is one of their highest. A lot of Grand
Hey,
Theft
that was a
Auto.
good game, okay?
It was fun. I played it, but I mean, I'm like, better than Witcher? It might be tied, and it's just one of those where like they just placed it higher or something. But I think they had it higher than Witcher. I mean, those scores mean nothing to me because it's the game depending on when it was rated. I was telling Sean, I feel like games from certain times there's a different almost like a different average, but what do I know? We played the
I
tiniest
did play some of it.
bit
Yeah.
of it when we first got our PlayStation 4 years ago, and then we never
And-
kept going.
Yeah, I liked it well enough, but then it got, I don't know, hard. I was like, it's hard.
You found it difficult because they moved
They're so slow.
realistically slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I felt like in other games, I'd be like, oh, I can just outrun them, and then I would die. And like, oh, he moves very slowly.
So you would have quit Elden Ring if L wasn't carrying you through it.
Dude, I would have quit Elden Ring so fast. I was saying the other day, I was like, I really like that game, but only because like you helped me through.
Yeah, he was like,
Everything.
Elden Ring might be one of my top games of all time. And I'm like, I don't know if you
barely
would feel
played
the
it.
same if I wasn't. I've heard everybody says they're really good. I just think the things I've heard on the internet, I think I would have everything ruined for me already.
See, I've heard so little, I could probably play it. Not know anything.
I just like it in a show format. I don't like shooter type games very much.
No, so I knew that was going to be brought up. That's
Calling you
true.
out.
It's true. As soon as I said, I was like, oh man, because like the beginning of that game when you're trudging through the snow, it's unbearable. Like it's so stupid. Like I almost quit from that. I was like, if he's gonna walk this slow, I'm not playing this game. But as soon as you get out of the snow, you still walk slow, but not as slow. And you have a horse.
And you can like tie people to railroad tracks.
And you can tie people to railroad tracks. I mean, what's not to love?
There's a
worth
lot
the
of
price of admission.
For anybody that doesn't know who doesn't play video games, Red Dead Redemption is like kind of a Western style, and you can be an outlaw or you can try to be a good guy. And depending on how bad you are, if you go into town, you're really bad. They immediately like come after you, the authorities and stuff. But there are people in the game that are not good people. And there's a lot of videos online of people like tying the bad people up and then like leaving them out for a bear to attack and all these different horrific ways for these horrible people to die. And you can look it up. Just look up like Red Dead Redemption.
It's pretty good.
It's, like setting people up to get killed by a bear or something, and you'll find it.
Hugo's right. Walking in your camp is also pretty terrible. I forgot about that. But yeah, you just like trudge slowly from person to person. It's no good.
Yeah, but it's better than all my favorite games according to Metacritic.
I mean, it is. That's the thing.
No,
like,
it's not. It's not better. It's just different.
I never played it. I don't really care about the Western setting.
I do wonder
it's
what
amazing.
It would have been like if we'd had my dad watch you play through that game. That would have been entertaining.
It's got a really good story. Really good story.
It does have a good story.
You guys also tell me that about Ghost of Tsushima, and have I played it yet? No. Do I own it? Yes.
The story in Ghost is good. I definitely think you should try to play the story of Ghost.
We're still sucked into Diablo 4, level 75.
Level 28.
Yeah, I'm 36, I think.
Oh, she's leaving you behind.
Yeah.
Well, just because that one night that we played and Sean was out playing volleyball, but
loser.
When I was out.
That one night,
getting drunk and living,
pretending to be Red Dead Redemption in real life. Yeah.
To go rob some banks and then decide on an outfit.
And then tie somebody up and leave them on a train track, apparently.
Exactly. I will say I spent a lot of time in that game with the outfits. I bought a lot of clothes. It's all about the fashion. All about
it was. I would come in and he'd be like, "What do you think of my outfit?" Well, on that note, oh, I mean, there was only I think one night I played with no one else, but that is not totally untrue.
And I also agree that Red Dead should be the next TV show adaptation. That'd be awesome.
Anyway, I feel like as soon as we start heading into video game territory, we're starting to get like a little niche. So it's probably a good...
I didn't read very much of Memories of Ice. We are getting the info dump of all info dumps. And I'm kind of confused about why I couldn't have gotten this in book 1. Because it's like, oh, okay. So that's how all this weird magic stuff is connected. Like, why did you need to wait so long to give me this information?
Maybe he just realized it in book 3. Like it wasn't.
I mean, I was
like, how is this all connected?
What is it? He's a pantser? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
That is what it's called. I was gonna make that joke, but I was like, I can't be the one to make that joke. So thanks, Sean. Well, you'll have to let me know as you keep reading it. And Sean, what were your thoughts on what you read?
It was interesting. It's very interesting.
You have very nuanced thoughts about this book.
Well, I mean, this was all about kind of recently, like very recently, freed slaves, how they organized like their family life and their church life, which was very interesting because apparently there used to be like some churches led by like white pastors who'd allow slaves to like sit in, and they'd have to be in their own section. But once they were free, they're like, yeah, let's get out of here, and they started their own churches, which is, you know, it's pretty like I'm trying to find the actual number because it's pretty huge.
Some of what is in that book is also awful, as would be expected. So I feel like that's why Sean's being a little vague about it.
So yeah, it says by the end of Reconstruction in 1877, the vast majority of Southern blacks had withdrawn from churches dominated by whites. On the eve of the war, 42,000 black Methodists worshipped in biracial South Carolina churches. By the 1870s, only 600 remained. 42,000 to 600. That's a big
difference.
And I understand why, but you know, it's a big change. Big change.
So, and then Roger, you were reading about magical gods and such varied reading between us tonight. Well, I know we talked about at the beginning that we were trying to be diligent about the amount of time we chatted before and after because we wanted to eat dinner. So, because it's around dinner time for all of us. So I think we're going to wrap it up. Roger, what are you going to eat for dinner?
I think I might make hamburgers tonight.
Oh. Very nice.
When Alex gets home, because I don't like touching the cold meat, so I always make him shape the patty. And I cook them. And hopefully he's in the mood. Hopefully he's in the mood to shape them by the time he gets.
So demanding. You made him go to his work. You're gonna make him shape the food. I've been making smoothies recently, and I make the ones I've made recently I've really liked. So I might make smoothies tonight.
How was your pizza, Sean, or is she still making it for you?
It was good. Good pizza.
She makes my stepdad do that with burgers too.
I just hate, I don't know, something about the tactile sensation of, I like eating it when it's cooked, but touching it when it's raw is just no.
I don't think you're alone in that.
I actually don't mind it, but then I'm weird because I'm like, oh, I have to wash my hands. And then I wash my hands, and then I'm like, oh, wait, I still have to get them in something. And then I put them in the pan. I'm like, oh, I have to wash my hands. And it's a lot of hand washing. Probably unnecessary hand washing.
We don't eat beef at this point, but anytime Sean does have to touch anything that he wants to do, what he described,
like ground turkey,
come over to me with his
turkey
hands
burgers.
like this and be like, can you hand me a paper towel? Just
like a surgeon. I am clean.
Yes,
Yep. That is exactly accurate. Well, anyway, thanks everybody who joined our sprint. I hope everybody got some reading done. And if you didn't read, I hope you got other things done. I am sad now for the people that have just joined that we're now ending, but I hope everybody has a nice rest of their evening, if it's evening for you, or rest of your day, depending on what time it is where you're at. But thanks everybody for joining. Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks everybody for joining, and we'll see you later. Bye.